Welcome to the channel. Will the Scamdemic flush out the secret Space Force? Benjamin Fulford, May 4, 2020. Author, Benjamin Fulford. Although on the surface it may seem that the fight for planet Earth is at an impasse, something big is coming. Several sources associated with the US government agree. The secret space program is about to be unveiled, NSA sources say. NSA sources for their part say that some kind of anomaly is affecting the very fabric of reality itself. The US military is now also in a full state of war, with over 1 million reservists drafted. As a result, the list of missing celebrities, billionaires and politicians continues to grow in the wake of the massive purge of Satanists. As the real criminals are rounded up, the bankruptcy of the US corporation now leads to the mass release of the mostly non-violent perpetrators. While many advocates of law and order are sounding the alarm bells, it is a fact that the USA is operating a massive gulag for prison slave labor. Americans are 20 times more likely to end up in prison than Chinese. For example, an African-American friend says that her brother went to prison simply because his hair tested positive for marijuana. This is just one of countless examples of how the ruling cabal uses every excuse to collect prison slave labor. A colleague in Singapore witnessed how US bonds secured with prison slave labor were sold to investors in the Far East. Let this be clear to you, the US government has sold bonds backed by slave labor to the Chinese. The bankruptcy of the company now leads to the closure of this gulag. Only the really dangerous criminals must be kept in custody under the present circumstances. Perhaps the establishment of a system of gang-controlled prison reserves would be the right way to move forward in this matter. The sheep, who are now hiding in their houses, are very slowly beginning to realize that their current government is made up of criminals and liars. Many traditional news agencies are now waking up to this reality. The New York Post, for example, reports that Bill Gates may have created the coronavirus to give people microchips. NSA says the same thing, as crazy as it sounds. The vaccine industry has been blown up on a grand scale, and people will be horrified when they find out what trusted medical professionals have done to them. The rabbit hole is deep, and there can be no doubt that a family mafia has ruled the Western world like a giant slave farm for thousands of years, going back to Babylon. The Russians were hysterically attacked because they were able to track down the leadership of this mafia. The photographs below, for example, are only part of the evidence that shows that Adolf Hitler's children have ruled much of the Western world since the end of the Second World War. Did you know that Barack Obama's mother, a criminal wanted by the FBI, is, according to the Russians, a daughter of Adolf Hitler? His father, Frank Marshall, what an American communist agent. Here is a photo of the FBI searched poster and a photo of the agency file for Obama's mother. These other photos sent by the Russians may help you little about the enormity of the lies that have been telling us, if not longer, were told to become clear. Before you look at them, please note that Hitler escaped from Berlin on a plane to Norway before he took a submarine to Argentina. He lived until old age in Paraguay on a ranch that was later bought by the Bush family. For this reason many of his children were born long after the end of the war. We posted the photo on the right before we saw Adolf with his daughter Angela Merkel. To convince doubters, we now add an official photo of young Angela on the left side for comparison. The next photo shows the family resemblance between Hitler's mother and Merkel. Then we have the photo of Angela's maternal grandmother, the mother of Eva Braun. The following photo shows three of the Hitler daughters who have landed in positions of power: Angela Merkel, Theresa May and Dalia Grybauskaite, President of Lithuania. Here we see the percentage of Jewish blood among the top Nazis. Merkel addresses a fascist greeting to the Israeli Nazi leader Benjamin Netanyahu. The publication of evidence like this is part of an attempt to wake the sheep to the reality of their gangster government. After the attack under false flag on September 11, 2001, The Nazis fulfilled their long-term plan to take over the United States and turn it into a fascist puppet state. This is what is now being brought down by the White Dragon Society and their Western and Eastern allies. Here is a summary of what is uncovered. The governor of Michigan used to work for George Soros. The California governor Gavin Newsom is the nephew of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is the niece of Hitler. The sister of Adam Schiff is married to George Soros' son. The daughter of John Kerry is married to the son of a mullah in Iran. Hillary's daughter Chelsea is married to George Soros' nephew. The managing producer of ABC News, Ian Cameron, is married to Susan Rice, Obama's former national security advisor. CBS President David Rhodes is the brother of Ben Rhodes, Obama's deputy president. National Security Advisor for Strategic Communication. ABC News correspondent Claire Shipman is interviewed by Jay Carney, the former Obama's White House press secretary, married. ABC News and Univision reporter Matthew Jaffe is married to Katie Hogan, Obama's former deputy press secretary. ABC President Ben Sherwood is the brother of Elizabeth Sherwood, Obama's former special consultant. CNN President Virginia Mosley is married to Tom Nides, former Deputy Secretary to Hillary Clinton. The lists of the White House, Senate and Congress go on and on and on. It's all one big Kabbalistic family club, and you can't go near it. This is exactly what the alliance is fighting against. These are some of the celebrities and politicians we are told have already been arrested. It's not yet in an official press release from the Justice Department. So look at it here as provisional. Celebrities: Seth Green, James Gunn, Dan Sander, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Ashton Kutcher, Kevin Spacey, Kathy Griffin, Oprah Winfrey, Sean Carter, Beyoncé Knowles, Anthony Kiedis, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Jim Carrey, Steven Tyler, Ben Affleck, Stephen Collins, Will Ferrell, Elioni Damala Badara Thyam, Akin, Marshall Mathers III, Jeffrey Jones, Victor Salva, Mark Collins Principal, Charlie Sheen, Tyler Grasham, Madonna Saccone, Catherine Hudson, Gwen Stefani, Stefani Germanotta, James Franco, Will Smith, Justin Roiland, John Cusack, Demi Moore, Brian Affleck, Meryl Streep, Wanda Sykes, Chelsea Handler, Michelle Wolf, David Yarovsky, Pharrell Williams, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Downey Jr., Courtney Love, Alec Baldwin, Johnny Depp, Brian Warner, Asia Argento, some political elites, Joe Biden, John McCain, Bob Menendez, John Podesta, Tony Podesta, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, Jeff Flake, Bob Corker, Jacob Schwartz, Ed Murray, Barney Frank, Brock Adams, Mel Reynolds, Neil Goldschmidt, David Wu, Tony Mendoza, Anthony Weiner, Peter Strzok, Adam Schiff, Charles Windsor, John Kerry, Joe Scarborough, Andrew Cuomo, Justin Trudeau, Brian Stelter, Jake Tapper, Chris Cuomo, Pope Francis, Bill Richardson, Peter Soros, Prince Andrew, Barack Obama, Anderson Cooper, Sheila Jackson Lee. This group still does not go quietly into the night, and it is clear that they have tried to kill us and drive us back into submission with the coronavirus planemia. It is also clear that for some reason their bioweapon attack on the human race is being neutralized. This Italian politician is one of the sheep that woke up and realized the illusory nature of this pandemic when he checked the facts and found out that the so-called coronavirus deaths were nothing of the sort. Here you can see the real causes of death, which are mostly heart attacks and cancer. However, the Chinese and Russians are fully aware that the US regime tried to kill us all with bioweapons. Look at these official statements. We have taken note of the statement by the Russian Foreign Ministry. The United States has set up numerous laboratories on the territory of the former Soviet Union, which is causing serious public concern in the neighboring countries concerned, said the spokesman of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Geng Shuang, on Wednesday, April 28. Meanwhile, the official Xinhua news agency said, Washington must respond to concerns that the delayed and chaotic U.S. response has accelerated the spread of the virus to other parts of the world. This is as diplomatically obvious as they blame the USA for the spread of the pandemic without an actual declaration of war. Since the bioweapon attack turned out to be a dud, there is now a serious ongoing attempt by the cabal to kill us with electromagnetic weapons. This is getting closer to home. Last week the vet to whom I entrust my dogs addressed me with a fascinating story. He said they had conducted a 5G experiment in Zenpakuji Park, which is near my home in west of Tokyo. Greater than me birds began to fall from the sky. I was summoned and I brought 3 dead pigeons back to my hospital and examined them. They all had torn lungs as if something had been confused with the sodium ions in their bodies. They also had the same symptoms as infectious peritonitis in cats, a coronavirus that destroys cats' lungs. He said it was not naturally possible for pigeons to get a cat coronavirus. Apparently birds fall from the sky in other places like Australia. We have heard earlier from Dr. Michael Meiring and others that HIV was created by mixing a cat disease with genes from African green monkeys and other nasty stuff to make it contagious to humans. These people must be removed from all positions of power as quickly as possible, and that is what is happening now. The last bastion of their control network is the corporations and the banks. Therefore, the U.S. corporate government and its financial system must be imploded. One way to achieve this is the collapse of the oil price. The recent negative oil prices have driven computer speculators out of the oil market. The same happens with other raw materials. It is about separating the financial speculators from the real business world. The cabals defend themselves by trying to destroy people's lives, by shutting down the economy with the pretended isolation against a pandemic. This struggle can be seen as a recovery of the stock market, enrichment of the cabal, while the US adds a record 30 million unemployed, impoverishment of the people. These satanic rulers are so arrogant that they still leave public signs of their activity, in particular the number 666. For example, on April 29 FRB's balance sheet reached $6.66 trillion, while Italy's crime rate fell by 66.6% due to the lockdown. As things stand, the US military is the only institution capable of dealing with the collapse of the satanic US corporation. A total of 1,031.03 reserves are being mobilized to ensure that basic survival items, food, shelter and emergency medical care, are available to all people if the system collapses. The cabal's efforts to close meat processing plants are an example of how the military has already intervened. You can confirm this by reading the following execution instructions. The AU is also disintegrating together with the USA and is breaking up into its constituent states. What's next? It is hard to say how long the chaos will continue and get worse, but the worst will probably be over this summer, Pentagon and other sources predict. But the real question is whether the collapse of the US corporation will remove the secret space program and secret military technology monopolized by the elite. The WDS turned to the Nazis and offered them full amnesty, with the exception of child torturers and mass murderers. We hope that the revelation of their secret space program will provide the USA and the rest of the world with the spark to start a new age of wonder. Whatever happens, the global awakening of the masses, which has begun, can no longer be stopped. Humanity will be freed from thousands of years of slavery.